Hi, my name is Kristen Brown. I'm running for Governing Board, San Jose Unified School District Trustee Area 3, which is a great long way to say I'm running for school board. I'm a parent with 2 sons with autism, so this question about how to mitigate learning loss for Latinx, African American, and special needs students really hits home for me. These are our vulnerable populations, and they certainly are the populations that are on the end of the divide that we look at and really want to, as a district, see better supports in place to help them reach their potential. But with learning loss, I really want to talk about that because my son started off 6th grade 3 years behind. He was demonstrating, kind of 2nd and 3rd grade level skills. And this is why he was traumatized in the middle of his 3rd grade year. So emotionally, things just shut down, and his ability to access academics became to a halt. And slowly, as emotionally he began to heal and connect and trust again with the world, his ability to access academics slowly came back. So we need to think about the fact that this has been kind of a traumatic time for a lot of our students. And until they're emotionally balanced, we need to consider that they won't be able to access their academics. So we really need to work on that emotional part of our students, and that means having more supports in place, and that means having better access to mental health for all students. And as far as learning loss, let's figure out what they learned from other areas that have had these issues of students not being able to attend school for a while. So after Hurricane Katrina, when schools were closed for months on end and it took a while for things to get back up and running, what they learned is if they continued on pace with where schools should be at, students were able to get exposed to the new information. And when they showed signs of struggle, that became the opportunity for the teacher or after school support to work with those students to get them up to speed. And that is what proved the most effective of all the different ways that they worked with students. So there's models out there on how we can better serve students to help them catch up. With special needs students, it's a little different. Sometimes it's not academic. Sometimes it's occupational therapy or social therapy. And in this very different world where you couldn't be hand over hand, or where you couldn't have that social cognition time, it's a little different. And so certainly that regression will need to be worked on. What is working? Boy, parent involvement. It's the best. Parent involvement, unlike it's ever been before. We as parents better appreciate what our teachers are doing. We're in more conversations with our teachers. It's better. So certainly that parent, teacher, student trifecta that we want is in place. What's not working is the connectivity and the computer literacy or the ability to access classes or return homework. It's been very frustrating, and teachers should not have added to their plate amongst all this chaos that they are now the IT support, but that's how it has been because parents just don't know where to go to get support. I don't know where to go. I always turn to my husband, who happens to work IT at Apple, and he helps when he can, but he can't even always figure it out. So it's not working. What's also not working? Communication. Our schools communicate. They do an okay job. They don't get all the messages out. Our district is trying to communicate a lot more, but there's still such a disconnect with the audience that needs to improve. So those are the problems. The solution: let's audit our communications. Let's bring somebody in to look at how the schools are communicating, how the district is communicating, what the teachers want parents to know, what the administration want parents to know, what parents want to know, what students want to know. And then let's look at how we can better communicate to make sure that all that messaging is where it should be. That's what I'd like to see. The last question was, how would I evaluate the district when we aren't allowed to have achievement tests? That's kind of off the table this year. It'll certainly be, teachers have that common core curriculum. They know where students should be. So it would be making sure that we are on par with where we should have our students. And if we are not on par, why that is and what we're going to do about it. So that kind of accountability has to be in place. There's not going to be a general score to look at for accountability, but there can be accountability to look at where students are at and how successful they are and what their mastery is at that. That can be done by our teachers. So I think there's still room for accountability without those test scores, and that's what I'd be looking at. Thank you.